Hello everyone, may I have your attention? The seminar is about to begin in few seconds. Hello everyone, may I have your attention? The seminar is about to begin in few seconds. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for finding your time to attend today's seminar. My name is Tan Chin Heng, and a master student from the School of Education's Faculty of Social Science and Humanities, University Technology Malaysia. I'm glad to be here as the moderator for this program today. It's a pleasure to be a part of this seminar. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to this beautiful seminar in these sections. We have a very young and energetic woman, Dr. Nur Fazlin Binti Haji Sadon. Before we get started, here is a gentle reminder. The attendance link will be shared in the end of sections. SPLG manually. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Awabala to recite the dua.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم إنك خالق العظيم، إنك سميع العليم، إنك غفور رحيم، إنك رب العرش العظيم، إنك بر الجواد الكريم. اللهم يا كريم، اللهم يا رحيم. Obey online supervisions in norms, challenges, and strategies. وآل لما يريد. ربنا إليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة عذاب النار. والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Mr. Awabala. I now welcome our beloved lecturer, Dr. Siti Nisrin Binti Muhammad Anis, to give her welcoming speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good afternoon to everyone that has recently joined us for this seminar. Welcome to the webinar entitled The Challenges and Strategies of Online Supervision in the New Norm. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the class MPPA 1353, Educational Supervision, and also School of Education, UTM, it is our great pleasure to receive Dr. Nur Fazlin Haji Saadon, academic lecturer from the Language and Technology Department, English Language Teaching Center, Ministry of Education, Malaysia. I'm so sorry for the connection today. It seems that I am hearing my voice double. Anyway, thank you, Dr. Nur Fazlin, for accepting our invitation today. Ladies and gentlemen, this webinar is not only as a part of the task given to the postgraduate students, but UTM, we the educators, we also hope that this will become part of virtual campus experience for our students, despite the difficulties of COVID-19. As most students couldn't attend classes face to face, So we hope that this platform will at least create a memorable memory of campus experience for everyone. Other than that, we also hope that this platform which provided by the faculty and UTM will bring opportunity to everyone to build network, learn from other experiences, have a fruitful discussions, and add value to grow professionally and individually. So before I end this, I would like to express my thanks to the support that has been provided by the School of Education and FSSH in general for the commitment to provide the best to our students so that the students could give back to the society and Malaysia. So if you are interested to pursue degree in education, do give us a call. Okay, finally, a big shout and congratulations for this team effort, which I fondly coin as the KPM group. We do hope that viewers and learners will gain something from the session. Again, I'm so sorry for my audio issues. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Noor Fazlin. And back to you, Mr. Tan Chin Heng.
And Dr. Please allow me to introduce the presenter for today's seminar, Dr. Noor Fazlin Binti Haji Sadon, the academic lecturer, Language and Technology Department, English Language Teaching Center, Ministry of Education, Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Noor Fazlin is not only an academic lecturer, an author, trainer, observer, public speaker, and a former teacher. She studied for her bachelor in TESOL from the University of Exeter, Harvard Summer School. In the year 2001, she started her teaching career at SMK Tato Penggawa Barat. She pursued her master in IT from University Technology Malaysia. Apart from that, she continued her PhD Management of Technology from University Technology Malaysia. Dr. Noor Fazlin's achievements include Apple Teachers, Google Certified Teachers, Edpuzzle Coach, MIE Trainer, and many more. Moreover, she also is a recipient of the Meta Hayat Chief Gaudat English Teacher Award 2018, Asians MGIT and HRP scholarships. Now, without further ado, I would like to welcome the presenter to discuss online supervisions in the new norm, challenges and strategies. Doctor, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chin, right? Chin Teng. Thank you so much for welcoming me. Thank you, Dr. Nisrin, and the committee member well executed. So yeah, so glad to be back at my alma mater. Let me share my screen and let me know if you can see it. See, yeah, sure. Okay, are you able to see it? Yes? All right, okay. How do I? Yeah, I think I just go down. Okay. All right. So thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone. I bid to Dr. Siti Nisri and as well as all the committee member for this webinar for today. So my name is Fazlin. I am an academic lecturer at English Language Teaching Center, Ministry of Education, Malaysia. And today I would like to do a bit of knowledge sharing about online supervision in the new norm. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities that we can explore together? All right, so let me start. Okay, right. So for my presentation for today, there are 5 areas that I will touch. The first one is I will briefly tell about myself. This is followed by introduction to online supervision. And we will discuss what are the challenges as well as the opportunities that we can explore in the age of the COVID-19 pandemic. And last but not least, I open the floor. If there's any question, hopefully I'll be able to rectify or answer your question from the floor. Okay, so far okay, yeah? Okay, okay, so let me continue. So a little bit about myself. I think the video from the committee has pretty much covered what I've done. But yes, I was a former teacher, English language teacher. Currently, I'm at the English Language Teaching Center attached to the Language and Technology Department as an academic lecturer. And I just finished training for the MTCP program. For your information, MTCP stands for the Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program. This is under Ministry of Foreign Affairs Malaysia, MOFA. So what we do is we train participants from Asia Pacific countries, Thailand, Maldives, the Philippines, Cambodia, and next week we'll be training some more participants from Kyrgyzstan and other countries. All right, and I've been teaching for 19 years at secondary schools before, and yeah, I was a former, my last post as a teacher was a master teacher of English language. And due to that, I have the opportunity to be involved in various national program, which is I was part of the JKD committee under the former YB our Minister of Education, Dr. Mazli, and then I help and assist the Johor Education Department, JPNJ, as well as Open Learning in developing online learning resources to help teachers learn, and it's free of charge. And apart from that, at school, I also mentor. So in this sense, this topic is something kind of related to me, how I supervise and mentor my teacher trainee, and then I like to write. I review some journals as well. And my area of interest, my PhD was on MOOC, massive open online courses. UTM has okay. Let's see. Okay. And then sorry, what was it? Just I saw something. All right, and then I do micro-credential at, as you can see here, there's Improve, right? So Improve is actually part of micro-credential that we offer at ELTC. And ECPD, yes, that's my area of interest. I am into continuous professional development and future-ready education. This is part of my interest at the moment. Any questions so far? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's start. Okay. So what comes to your mind when you hear the word online supervision?
Lekat Pak dia ni.
Sorry. All right. So what comes to your mind when you hear the word online supervision? Okay. I want you to, if you have a gadget or device, can you please, you can scan the QR code there, or you can go here, go to www.menti.com and you key in the code 3651696666. Okay, there's 2 ways for you to access this interactive discussion. So you can either use, you can scan the QR code here, or you can go to menti.com and use the code here. I'll be looking at the chat box as well to see if there's any question or anything. Let me know if there's something unclear. Okay, so please go to menti.com. We are going to see, okay, so how you answer when it comes to online supervision. What comes to your mind when you hear the word online supervision?
Sorry, doctor, it's not open for voting yet.
It's not open for voting. All right,
Open for
sorry.
voting.
And are you able to go here? Can you go now?
Still cannot, doctor.
Cannot.
We get the number again, the code again.
All right, sorry.
The voting is closed.
Maybe I rectify that later. Maybe you can just like, answer this question. So what comes to your mind when you hear the words online supervision? I'll try to rectify this later. All right. So maybe you can share with me. So what comes to your mind when you hear the word online supervision?
Or motivations from the educator to the students.
All right. Okay. Anybody else? Motivation? Trust, yes. So Batira mentioned that trust is also very important, right? Collaboration, yes. We collaborate, and then this is something that we can do together, right? When it comes to online supervision. We'll just wait for maybe one more answer, and then we can see. Communication, 21st learning skill, those are very good answer. Okay, so I'll just proceed to my next slide. All right, okay. All right, so if you can see here. Okay, so when we talk about the online, second. All right, so when we talk about online supervision, these are the most important thing that you must know. All right, so as a Malaysian, we refer to the Malaysian Educational Blueprint when it comes to our reference for supervision, for teaching and learning. So particularly when it comes to the teaching and the school leaders, please refer to chapter 5. I will give access to my PowerPoint and for my slide deck to the committee member, and when you go here, you can click to the link of the Malaysian Education Blueprint, and you can explore more. All right. So the three parts that as teachers, as school leaders, that we must know is that we must remember that as supervisor, we provide advice that could help teachers to balance both creativity and criticism. All right. So this is something which is very crucial when it comes to supervising our subordinates, our mentee, and all those things, right? And then growth. Why? Because when we talk about supervision, it's all about personal growth. It's all about a continuous professional development. So it can lead to student success. How? By improving the teachers' professional growth and their work performance. So this is very important part of online supervision. And then the next part, which is support, it actually provides equal importance to teachers, and by having constant interaction between the supervisor and the teacher to improve teaching and learning process. All right, so this is actually very important. All right, that when we talk about supervision, it's not just about giving inform A and just pretty much giving out the information. It's all about the rapport. It's all about the communication. It's all about enhancing collaboration. It means that to create a comfort zone between your mentor, between your mentor and the mentee. So these are all very important, yeah. And then, so the next one. Okay, models of educational supervision. So I think most of you are familiar with these models. All right, there are three models when it comes to educational supervision, right? The first one is clinical. The second one is peer coaching. And the third one is developmental. So what are the difference between these three models, yeah? All right, so when we talk about the clinical model, all right, so this actually refer to an ongoing process where the most experienced supervisor will guide his or her less experienced supervisee. It's something like, you know, between us, like a university supervisor advising an undergraduate student for the FYP, for the final year project. Or if you are talking about the context of school, it's something like a principal guiding the teachers as well as the head of department. So someone who is a fresh graduate or someone who just be in the position of leadership. So you need a bit of ongoing mentorship, and this is where a more experienced supervisor will help those with less experience. All right. Okay. And the next one is peer coaching. So peer coaching is something that most of us do when we talk about, institutional level. It is done at my institution, ELTC, Ministry of Education, even at the Johor Education Department or any other state education department. We do a lot of coaching, peer coaching, even in school. As teachers, right? For example, if you are the head of department or if you are the head of panel, you collaborate with your subordinate, with your colleagues to reflect on our classroom practices. When we do the, we do the PLC, remember the professional learning collaboration. So we actually solve the problem together. And how we can do this? By guiding each other and share ideas that facilitate, right, this new skill. And it's not about having someone dominating. It's pretty much a very collaborating. Everybody is equal and you are helping each other achieve your highest potential. All right, so and the third one, developmental, is actually referring to supporting teachers to become autonomous, okay, in the educational practice. All right, so this is something which is very important because when we talk about in the era of the pandemic, it is very important, all right, for teachers to understand that they are responsible for their own personal growth as much as other people. For example, like your supervisor, your principal, the education officer, SISC plus, they are there to support you. The onus is on the teacher or the mentee themselves to decide how much they want to achieve, how much they want to develop their own personal potential in this area. So I think the combination of all these things are very important. All right, so maybe you can think for a while, at which state are you at the moment? Are you more at number one, where you are a beginner and you need an heavy intervention of a coach or a mentor? Or are you more at number two, where you are collaborating, you are helping each other, okay, when it comes to this? Or are you right now more autonomous in deciding what you want to achieve to improve your education, your professional efficiency, your growth? So these are the three models that you can consider when you want to do supervision. All right, so far okay, yeah? Any questions so far? Okay, all right, thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, all right, so when we talk about supervision, right, one of the main criteria or one of the main aspects that we want to achieve is to have professional leadership. Because when we want to supervise, that means there's someone who's going to lead and someone who's going to be the follower. before you can be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. And both parties are equally important. Okay, meaning that without having a good supervisor, you will not have a good mentee or a good supervisee. So I think both roles are equally important in understanding their role and their needs. All right. So if you look here, the aspect of professional leadership in supervision. All right. So the first one is relationship-based practice. So for example, the easiest way is to say that between you and your colleague, all right, what are the relationship? Are you close to each other? Are you able to discuss with each other? Or are you having a bit of hiccups here and there? So you have to decide engage at this part. And number two, emotionally intelligent reflective supervision. A good supervision is not merely saying, okay, I want you to do this. It's all about knowing that I want you to do this by taking consideration of this, and all those things. So it has to be something like SMART, using the SMART concept. Okay, it has you set goals, and you have something which is very reflective, not simply just saying good, bad. Nah, you want something which is very reflective that the mentee can have a takeaway and think about how they can improve themselves. Number three, all right, is developing and supporting excellent practitioners. When we talk about having a supervision, it does not merely saying, okay, all right, you just do this and leave it at that. That is not a good supervision. So in this sense, it's an ongoing supporting someone to execute, to carry out the task. It's not simply just saying, okay, I want you to do this and leave it at that. All right. And number four is something I think which is very important when it comes to improving the Malaysian education system. Or right now, because I know that our participants for today, there are some participants from other countries. So I want you to think that how can you include or how can you embed systemic thinking in supervising, meaning that when you talk about something systemic, it means that you are thinking of something which is very pragmatic. When something is very pragmatic, it means something which is very practical. What is practical that I can use or I can do with, for example, A? Maybe the systematic thinking style when you do with A is not similar to when you are assisting or you are supervising B. Everybody have different way and style. So this is one way of making it adaptable. And the next one, number five, is applying theory and evidence. Theory alone does not work. I'm sure that some of you are teachers, some of you are lecturers, some of you are education officers, and it's all about applying those theory and making it work for your professional development. How can you apply all those theories that you read or you read before and making it work for yourself in your daily career needs? Yeah. And number six, this is something that I think is very important if you want to have your stance in influencing the stakeholders. Okay, let's see, you have a very good idea. How can you share with your supervisor, with the school leader, with the education leader, that this is something which is very good, that can improve the education system or the condition that is not improving at a time? So supervision here is very important, or else you'll be like somebody just, simply criticizing without using the right way, the right channel. And these are all part of good, effective supervision aspects. Yeah. All right. Can I move on to the next one? Okay. All right. Okay, I think there's something wrong with my Mentimeter. I think there's some connection problem. Sorry about that. Okay, so what are the challenges you see in supervising the learning and working progress? So I want you to look at this picture, yeah? Okay, I want you to look at this picture. Okay, when you look at this, is this something familiar to all of you?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so something very familiar, right? Because it's how do I minimize this, or it's trying to close it? All right, so sorry. So when you look at this, all right, Yeah, this was happening at home for most of us. Okay, I don't know, it's like buffering here. But if you can see the image there, all right, the image here shows that this is a typical, situation when it comes to schools, teachers. Let's say this is a teacher, okay, and then this is the husband, for example, and you have to do a Zoom conference call, all right, and then for their children, okay, even year one, they have to go for online classes, and who is monitoring all of them? Are they supervising themselves? So what type of model of supervision is being present? Like Pastor Madam. Yeah, I'm sure. Because the thing is, as much as you're using your headphone, you are trying to interact with your supervisor or your teacher, instructor. So it can be a bit of, there's a lot of hula baloo, there's a lot of here and there. So you are, and then as much as, there are enough gadget, there's also a problem of, of various things that can happen here. So I want you to think, what are the challenges you see in supervising the learning and the working progress here? Okay, right? So I want you to look at this one. I don't know why this is not closing. Oh no. Okay. Wait for the program to respond. Distraction, havoc, yes. All right. I think my connection is going haywire. This is one of the challenges too. You see, I'm even facing it right now. Okay. All right. So let's see. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Doctor?
Doctor.
Okay. Right. Okay. There you go. Okay, just now you were like asking about the ranking, right? So you can see that. Okay, this is how you rank the supervising learning and working progress. All right. See share. I hope you can see now. Okay, all right, so this was your answer, right? So most of you says that the first problem is adaptability. We want to adapt to technology. The issue is like some people are beginners and some people are, advanced, but the problem might be the time management, because right now all of us are managing a lot of things at such a speed level. Okay, it's a rat race. Okay, I'm sure those people who are, you're living your family, you're managing family. Even if you're single, you also have to manage a lot of things, right? There's no discrimination here. And we're talking about connectivity. This is also a problem. Yeah, like, yes, doctor, like we have to juggle a lot of things. And also, I think for students as well as the teachers, motivation, because when we talk about the the PDPR, before this, it's just we think that about like, okay, maybe just 1 or 2 months, but right now look at us, we are going to the second year actually, and this is something which is very alarming, and I think a lot of institutions are trying their best to handle this matter. Okay, and as I mentioned here, okay, it's all about adaptability, connectivity, motivation, and time management. So all of these are challenges. Even myself just now, I was facing challenges when it comes to connectivity. I'm actually showing you like it can happen even if we have already prepared, right? Okay, and but what's important is the show must go on, and so you learn to adapt. So I'm actually demonstrating that you have to learn to adapt. If plan A doesn't work, there's always plan B, C, and so on. And when we talk about online learning, it's very important as someone who wants to supervise our students. We have to think about how long are they spending online. This is actually a survey, or this is actually a chart and research done on Malaysian university students. All right. This is pre-COVID-19 pandemic. Before it all happened, you can see the average number of the average hour for students, for university students in Malaysia, when it comes to using the internet, using the computer, is usually about 2 to 3 hours max. All right, that is the the average. But let's look at during COVID-19 pandemic. What happened? We see such such a like a massive change there. Okay, you can see that it's about 6 to 7 hours and 8 to 9 hours. This study was been done recently, 2021. So okay, you can look at this and you can actually ponder and reflect. If our students are spending this much time online, how are we as education officer, how are we as lecturers, how are we as teachers going to going to supervise, how going to monitor without being too hard on them? Okay, because even ourselves, even as we supervise people, we are also being supervised, right? And we also have to self-monitor our mental health. This is something which I think need to be addressed, because there is a very distinct correlation between mental health and the time that we spend online, because that's the reason why having a very effective and pragmatic online supervision is very important in the in the time of COVID-19 pandemic, right? Okay, so how long do you spend these days? I want to get some feedback from all of you. How long do you usually spend on your computer or in the internet these days? Maybe you can type in the chat box. Wow, Bavitira, 12 hours, man. You're very productive, or spending too much time there. Workaholic. More than 14 hours. Wow. And I thought that Bavitra was spending more time. 4 hours. Yeah, that's more average. Yes, 8 hours, more than 8 hours. I think that's pretty much the mean. The average where most people do that, more than 7 hours, 8 hours. Yeah, I think it's pretty much, this chart is describing how all of us are spending our time, more than 10 hours. See, you can see that there's such a stark difference when it comes to how we spending time online to how we are going to supervise our student, even ourselves. How are we going to regulate all these things, right? Okay, this is something which I retrieved from the Star online, all right? And this is something which all of us need to pay attention, all right? When we talk about online supervision, it is inevitable not to focus on the type of learning that we can do online. The first one is the synchronous learning. Okay, when we talk about synchronous learning, the layman term refers to, yeah, Muhammad Suhaimi, PT1, we have handled the year 1 I know, right? Imagine that, because when we talk about a certain age, right? When we talk about child development, you are someone who needs a physical intervention, you need the physical encouragement, and this is something which is direly lacking when it comes to online. So this is something that as teachers, we need to think of a way when it comes to supervising our younger learners, right? Thank you, Suhaimi, for giving me that view. So when we talk about synchronous learning, we're talking about something which a learning that happens in real time. For example, like right now, I am doing a synchronous sharing, meaning that as I share, you give your view and I can read it straight away, or you can interact with me real time. So what are the advantages? Of course, it is very engaging because I can directly address your question, or I can hear what you have to say. It's very dynamic, and unfortunately, it's quite rigid because, right now, some of you who has very good internet connection, all right, very good internet connection has no problem in assessing synchronous learning. But let's think about those people who are, struggling with their internet connection, with connectivity. This is something which is going to be an issue for all of them. All right. And then when it comes to the mode of synchronous learning, there's various mode that you can use. You can use, I will explore this later, okay? And then you have live online presentation. There's a lot of interactivity when you can use a lot of, a lot of tools and digital platforms. So later on, I will share with you about this. The second part is the asynchronous learning. This is when, for example, let's say Dr. Nisrin, right? Dr. Siti Nisrin, you decide to share an article with your students, and you give time for them to go through it, and later on you do a discussion. So there's no, so in this sense, right? It is not real-time interaction, but still learning take place, right? So you have to think. Too much of synchronous learning can be very, it can be very time consuming. It can be quite, quite expensive as well, very cost inducing, because you're using internet connection, right? Not all of our students have, they can afford to have very, the fast speed like Unify and all those things. So we have to take things in consideration. And the advantage is, of course, flexibility. When I was teaching in school, I was teaching at SMK Bandar Baru Uda. Just now I saw Puan Azima and Camila. Hi. All right. So when we talk about, asynchronous learning, when we have to think about those students who may not have access to the internet. If we do Google Meet, yes, almost students data internet limited, exactly, right? So this is one of the issue that we face as a teacher in school, right? And because I think as much as we have video, you can watch video later on. Some videos, it will, it's very, it actually very consuming for the bandwidth, right? So this is something that that as a supervisor, as a teacher, you need to take in consideration. Okay, I don't want to talk too much on that because I would like to focus on this. What supervision report do we need? As if you are an education officer, if you are a lecturer, if you are a teacher, if you are helping your colleague or subordinate, what type of report do you need to help effectively make the supervision works for your advantage, right? So the first one is a good supervision report should enable you to keep track of your mentee, learners, or participant. For example, I think I saw like UTM, they have they have like a log where you can keep track of your mentee, learners, and participant, even if you're a master student, postgrad students, right? So SPS, they have, yeah, like a system where you can keep track of your, of mentee, their participants in an activity. And it is also very important, like e-project. Yes, time. Okay, and secondly is learner progress. A good supervision report, online report especially, you must be able to track your learners progress and via granular and group data criteria. What I mean by granular, like grain, right? Grain is something very small. So you want to, let's say you want to track the learners progress individually, or you want to track their progress in a group. Let's say you are, for example, right now, all of you are in a group, right? When it comes to doing this project, so you can assess the learners progress individually or as a group. All right. So this is very important to have when you want to choose a good supervision report. And the number three, the third point is a good supervision report would be it can gauge, the students' performance. You can get the details of the exam and evaluation report. So all of this is very helpful as a supervisor, as a school leader. For example, you are principal or you are, a director of a certain education department. So, and even as a teacher, okay, you need to you need to gauge and to see at which level are your student at. And of course, we want to reward our students. So we know that, okay, you have achieved this, you have complete the task. So you can customize and certify learners. Okay, for example, just now, Mrs. Suhaimi mentioned a very good point. We are dealing with younger learners who have to, to go through the rigmarole of having to go through online learning. So how can we encourage these students, these young learners, to participate in online learning? So we can make a very fancy certificate, give them like badges, gamification, they can collect badges, and this sort of reward and gamification elements can encourage our learners to to complete your task. So all of these are actually very helpful when it comes to ensuring that our students, our mentee, our supervisee are well supported. Okay. Right. So let's go to the features here. So when we talk about the features of good online supervision, these four elements are very important. I have adapted this from a guide to online supervision. Okay, this is based from from the universities of UK. Okay, the UK council. So they decided, they have come to conclusion that there are four features that are very important when it comes to online supervision. The first one is creating or making connection. Of course, when you want to you want to get through to your students, your supervisee, your mentee, you establish that connection first. How do you do that? WhatsApp, you can use Telegram, all right? Oh, everyone communicates, but only a few connects. Exactly, right? Maybe they just say hi, but how can you create the connection? Like when we talk about connection, it's just simply adding these people or adding the learners into a group. For example, you have your Facebook, for example, you have your Telegram group, you have your WhatsApp group, or you have, the LMS group connection. It's just adding using various tools. Secondly is communication. I like Bhavitira's idea about, everyone communicates, but only a few connects, all right? So after you make the connection, how can you communicate with each other? How often do you communicate with your subordinates? How often do you promote interactivity? How do you do this? So these are the features that you need to think about when it comes to mentoring, supporting your supervisee, your students, and all that. And then of rapport. When we talk about rapport, how is your connection, or how is the relationship between you and your supervisee, with your students, with your learners? Is it good, or you're just simply, are you the sage on the stage, or are you the guide by the side? Okay, so you have to decide. Are you the one who's just giving the order, or are you someone who's willing to go along and learn together with your mentee, with your supervisee, with your students? Because to be honest, let me draw from my own experience. Even I learn from my students, because when it comes to technology, right, some of the students, they have a lot of ideas. For example, before this, like they talk about a few gadgets that I never know about, like a few, for example, apps that I wasn't aware of. Like for example, before this, they talk about Discord. Of course, when people talk about Discord, it's all about, gaming. But actually, there are various ways for us to use various, apps in order to assist and monitor our students better. It's up to you. There's no such thing as one tool fits all for everything. Okay, next one. This is the part that is quite important. Set a very realistic expectations. Okay, when it comes to your supervisee, your mentee, your student, what do you expect from them? For example, let's say you are a mathematics teacher. I know Fadila, you are a mathematics teacher, right? So let's say you want to inform your students. I would like you to complete this task within a certain date, and I expect you to complete all of the questions. So that is the expectation. When our learners, when our mentee, when our supervisors, very good, yes, Shin, set the KPI, set the expectation, set the target, set the goals. Having a goal is very important. planning for it is very important, because you know why? Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So having all these aspects in consideration, it will help you to be, you know, to be mindful of the expectation. Yes, all right. So all of you have actually shared a very good idea. Okay, so let's look at this one. All right, so what are the platforms that you can use? And all of these tools, all these platforms are just some of the platforms that I'm going to share. Okay, try and test it. Yeah. Okay, I think some of you are familiar with this, right? When you look at this, you know, at the icon here, some of it are familiar, maybe some of it not really. Okay, can you share in the chat box what are the platforms that you are familiar with, that you tend to use most of the time? So I just want to see. Is it like Google Classroom, MS Teams, Open Learning, Improve, Schoology, edX? I can see Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, Nearpod, yes. Okay, we are using Nearpod too at ELTC. I think that's very good, right? Yeah, Google Meet, 5 more, never know about it. Okay, yeah. All right, some of you maybe are familiar with Google Classroom because we are using this in school, right? And for UTM, you are having your own LMS. Okay, and then for MS Team, I think in certain institutions, some of you are familiar with using MS Team. It has more features, but the free version is quite limited. So some institution, they subscribe to get more perks when it comes to you using MS Team. Okay, the good thing about MS Team is that there are various, you can set out channels and you can monitor. So a lot of sharing can be done and monitoring can be done. Quizzes, Kahoot, yeah. So later on, I will talk about the tools, yeah. So we'll talk about platform, Google Classroom. When we talk about Google Classroom as its own, Google Classroom does not have a specific online monitoring system. But what is flexible about Google Classroom is that you can integrate it with the one that, who was it? Tan just now. You mentioned about, using quizzes, Kahoot. So all of this, you can enhance. You can enhance your Google Classroom experience, although it's not part of it. Yeah, whiteboard is also very interactive, And open learning, this is right now our institution is using open learning when it comes to doing micro credentials. What is micro credential? It means that, for example, if you go for a course, usually it will take, let's say, a MOOC for itself. Okay, MOOC maybe will take about 1 or 2, 3 days. But when you use a micro credential, you can finish it within 2 or 3 hours. That is micro credential. So open learning right now, they are also doing micro credential apart from MOOC. Improve. Okay, as you can see in my here. Okay, so Improve is actually part of ELTC micro-credential platform. So we create micro-credential courses for English language teachers. Okay, so you can go to improve.com and check Improve. You can improve eltc.edu.my and explore it. And Schoology, I think some of you, especially those teachers who are, as young as me. All right, so you're familiar with Schoology, all right? So we have used this before. And then we have edX. edX, I think, it is being, it's part of University of Harvard and MIT. And right now, there are a lot of universities globally and worldwide are using edX. You can join for free, and it has supervision features. What type of supervision feature? Later on, I will show you, yeah? Okay, let's see. So Fadila says, to make learning math more meaningful, I spend some money to buy Casio calculator online. Wow, that's awesome. All right, see, when we have teachers who are very passionate, there's no hurdles that is too much for a teacher, right? So we need, like, when we talk about supervision, it's all about attitude. Okay, so I can see a lot of good and passionate, very motivated teachers. And the thing about teachers and educators in Malaysia, maybe worldwide, is that usually if there's a hurdle, if there's some challenges, we will try our best to make do with what we have. At the same time, think of other alternatives. If we cannot, purchase something which is expensive, we try to think of ways that we can come up with a solution, right? So kudos, good job. Okay, so let's look at the tools. So just now, I think Tan and the rest, you mentioned about, using quizzes, using Padlet, all right? So those are actually very good tools for lesson monitoring. Why specifically I put lesson monitoring? Because not all digital tools, you can monitor the lesson. All right. So Padlet, yes, you can actually monitor like how many students are, using it. And then Google Form. This is something I think most of us use a lot. All right. So when we talk about Google Classroom and Google Form, you can create attendance form. You can create, like a questionnaire, survey. You can keep track of how much the students are doing the task. And this is free of charge, of course. And it's very flexible, and you can use a lot of ways to use to memories. Right? If you are, so when you have cards, the is for the all right. Are you able to see my slides? Yeah. Can you see? Just double check. I can reconnected. Okay. Thank you. All right. So when we talk about so as you can see, it is happening right now. Okay, connectivity. And then when we talk about lesson monitoring, when we talk about I done this, so you can keep track how much work have been done. Okay. Oh yeah, Tilaga, we are using Data Studio. Data Studio is also very effective, and it is you can see everything on real time. You can manipulate the data and present it in various visualization. I think that is a very good tool that you can use as well. All right. So these are some of the tools that you can use, and I appreciate that you're sharing all these things, because to be honest, the problem for teachers these days, the problem for supervisors these days is not that we don't have the tools. We have an influx of all these tools. It's all about curating which one that will work with us, which one that will help a certain group of students to cater to their needs. It's not about not having the tool. It's all about which tool that is going to help us, right? So I think exploring can be time consuming. So I'm glad that we have this knowledge sharing session, because we can share with each other what are the tools that we can use when it comes to lesson monitoring, right? Okay, and then Edpuzzle. The thing I like about Edpuzzle is because when you are watching a video, some of the problems that I usually face with my students is I do not know whether the students have completed the task, have they watched the video, and whether they really do it themselves, or they're just cheating and asking their friends. So the thing about a puzzle is that they cannot skip, they cannot just fast forward it. They have to go through the whole video and then answer the question that you have set. So in this sense, you are monitoring the students' progress, and you can keep track of their achievement and the date or the duration of time that they have spent in completing your task. Right, so some of the visualization and tracking that I can share with you, there are many actually, right, because due to the time restriction, okay, Edpuzzle, yeah, please try Edpuzzle, because it is very interactive, especially for, for teachers in school. They have many subjects. So if you are, if you're not sure how to use it, just go to edpuzzle.com. I will share my slides with you. And when you click at all the links, they have direct link to it. So you can explore it straight away. So Mentimeter, what I like about Mentimeter is that you can export the data to Microsoft Excel. So this is something which is very useful. Let's say you are using Mentimeter to gauge your students' opinion, view, or to participation statistics. So you can actually export and visualize it through Microsoft Excel. And next one, having a leaderboard is actually very helpful as well, because you can track the students' progress. Like who are the ones who always do this, and they need more supervision, more monitoring because of the marks that they have achieved. So this way, because here's the thing, as much as our learners are different, as supervisor, as education officer, as a teacher, we have different way of processing data as well. Some people are more visual. So if you are more visual, you would appreciate leaderboard. And for example, if you are more data driven, you are into statistics. So maybe, Data Studio is something more for you. Right? And then for quizzes, what you can do with quizzes is that you can track students' progress by various data filters. Okay, so also Pawnee says here is that I use quizzes and love it because quizzes can generate report. Exactly, right? So this is from my own quizzes when I was teaching in school. And you can see, right? You can see like how many students are completing, how many students have issue in certain questions. So when you are able to track the students' progress by these various data filters, you can see how much intervention do I give to my students? Like, do I let my students be more autonomous in their learning, or should I spend more time on a certain topic or a certain area? So this is, yes, very good. Yes, we can even email the report. So for example, if you are, you want to report to your principal or your lecturer on your progress, like how much progress that your mentee or your students are doing. So you can simply just email the report. You don't have to know all this, programming basics. And this is very helpful when you are on the go and you have to manage various, your various responsibility, as well as managing a lot of people at home, right? So at Puzzle, some of you mentioned that you're not familiar with Edpuzzle. So what Edpuzzle does is that it monitors learners' progress, and you can check the date when they last viewed the video. So in this sense, if the students achieve less than 50%, it will be red in color. Okay, it will be red. So you can see, I always like any any tools that have visualization like this, because it gives like a quick a quick report, and you can simply just devise what is the best intervention for your students. Yep, yeah, all right. And then so that's pretty much it. All right, so I think I exceed this for a few minutes. Okay, 4:30. So I am thankful for for the session. Okay, and feel free to ask any question. I'll just look at the chat box if you have any question. Edpuzzle is interesting, yes. Oh, for your information, if you want to learn more about Edpuzzle, you can go to improve. Here, improve. Okay, we have come up with micro credential on Edpuzzle, on Padlet, okay, on Genially. This one, the one that I'm doing here, is called Genially. Okay, and you can learn more about Genially. I am the one facilitating this course. So if you want to learn more about how to use Genially, how to use Edpuzzle, how to do all these tools, all right, for your learning, feel free to go to improve.eltc.edu.my and learn more about this. It's free of charge. You'll get your certificate, and then you can also get credit hour on SPLKM, right? SPLKPM. Right, so any question? You're welcome.
Okay, thank you again, Dr. Noor Fazlin. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the question and answer sections. Now, Dr. Noor Fazlin will respond to some of the questions that sent to us during the presentations. Would you mind if I read them out, Doctor?
Sure.
Okay, Doctor, since the durations of PTBR is longer, in your opinion, do you think the teachers should utilize more learning tools to develop their online teaching skill, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic, Doctor?
Right. I think when we talk about the changes, right? The changes that we are facing due to the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, it is very important that we do not just jump onto the bandwagon. What I meant by that is sometimes we felt that just because everybody are using the latest the latest tools, then that is the tool that we need to try. The most important thing is that when you are trying out all these tools to supervise, monitor your students, choose the one that is suitable for your learners and your target group, right? And when you look at this, think about the connectivity. Are you going to use synchronous or asynchronous mode when it comes to using and incorporating this in your lesson? And you have to think about the time and the duration as well, because some tools, they are more time consuming. Like for example, if I ask my students to create a presentation using PowerPoint, they have to create something from scratch, right? Because although there are some design, but what I can suggest to them, they can use, like for example, generally they have a pre-template. Like the one that I'm using this, I didn't need to embed any programming code or whatever to make it very interactive. It's already pre-embedded. So in this sense, you are trying to use all the digital tools to support your teaching and learning process. So anything, any tools, explore it. But just because it is suitable for your friends, it doesn't mean necessarily automatically it will be suitable for your class or your for supervisee. So have it a go, give it a try, and then you decide which one will work for you. Yeah. Any other
All
question?
right, thank you, Doctor, for your sharing. And the next question is from Prima, and
Okay.
she is asking, during these current situations, teachers are saddled with an excessive workload. How can they maintain their teaching quality?
Right. Okay. One of the struggle or the challenges when it comes to teachers during the COVID-19 pandemic is that apart from teaching online, they have to submit reports, right? I think those teachers here, you are familiar with this, not just teachers, even lecturers, right? So you have to give a proof that you have conducted all of these activities, you have conducted the lessons, and you want to give reports as well as proof that you have conducted and how successful all the lessons have been done. So one of the things that online supervision can help is by using the tools that I've shared or the tools that to lessen some of those nitty-gritty part of reporting. Okay, so if you can do it by collaborating, some of the tools are collaborative. So what you can do is you can collaborate with your department, with your panel, and then you do it together. So when you do it individually, granularly, it will be very taxing, because you're doing it on your own. So the best way is for you to do collaborative effort, and as well as like right now you're doing a project management. So being able to being able to divide and share the accountability together, it will lessen this the ability or the feeling of being too much work, or you be burnout. Burnout is actually one of the issue that a lot of people are facing when it comes to post pandemic effect. So it is very important that when you're facing this, you assist each other, and this is when supervision takes place, right? That's all.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, seems like the time is running out, and I will ask for the last questions from Tira. Okay. How can teachers handle stress during pandemic teachings, Doctor?
Right. Very very important question to be to be addressed here. When we talk about COVID-19 pandemic, it is inevitable not to correlate that with our mental health, right? Because the amount of time, as you see before this, I shared right now, the average time that we spend online is about 4 to 7 hours. Some of you even have longer hour online. Therefore, being able to, have a healthy boundaries in conducting your task is very crucial. Therefore, if you can use some digital tools that can, that can lessen the time or amount of reporting, lessen the amount of, writing up, and then instead of you having to be in charge of the whole lesson, you can shift or you can share the ability or the accountability of learning with your students. So you've heard of pedagogy, right? Pedagogy meaning that it is the students who are self-motivated. They are driven by their own needs to learn. So if you are able to, shift from a lesson that is just relying on you providing and spoon feeding all the material, instead you ask the students to come up and explore, this might be a way for you to do it. And I know that some of you might say, oh, but my students do not have the ability to do this. How about the young learners? So maybe the best approach for this is scaffolding. Scaffolding approach refers to knowing which stage that you are going to assist and monitor your students. If your students are at the beginner level, of course, you are going to help more. You are going to support more. But if you're dealing with students who are, let's say, at like primary, at secondary students, secondary school students, so maybe you can shift that accountability to learn more, so they can explore, and that way you won't feel overwhelmed. Okay, mental health is very important, not just for supervisor, is also for our learners. Therefore, I hope that the online supervision that we are going to conduct, it will take consideration of all these elements, talking about health, talking about time, talking also about the challenges, because we have to remember lesson when conducting a lesson online cannot be translated directly to the exact impact of learning face-to-face or conventionally, right? So therefore, I think that as supervisor, as someone who is going to be, leading this thing, it is very important that we take consideration of all these variables in ensuring that everybody is well supported. So I think that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Noor Fazlin, for answering those questions. It's a pleasure to have you with us, Doctor. There was an excellent presentation, Doctor. Thank you again for the informative and exciting talk. Once again, the participants, do remember to fill in your attendance in the chat box. Now I would like to introduce the committee members for today's programs. Here we go. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, finally, we come to the end of our seminar. I would like to thank the presenter for her excellent sharings and audience for your participations. Hopefully, the talks will be beneficial for everybody. Now, let us take a group photo together with the speakers and participants. Please turn on your camera. Thanks again for your attendance and attentions. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Congrats again, everyone.
Oh, okay. Terima kasih, Dr. Fadlin. Thank you, everyone. I hope that you can hear me well. It's raining hard here.